Welcome back everyone to another episode of the Hello World Guide. This is episode number 6 of the Unreal Engine beginner series, and in this video we are going to move forward with our game. And by the way, if you remember, in the last video we added this cool material and we also added this enemy, and it looks pretty cool. We learned about materials in the last video. So now currently our enemy is not doing anything. What we want to do is we want to make the enemy chase us. Now this is the target of our video, and before I start, let me just make it extremely clear that in Unreal Engine there are basically, like, for enemy AI you have got some advanced actual like real AI technology, but since this is just a beginner series we don't need to do that. We'll just hard code everything in blueprints, and if you want like really advanced AI, then maybe I'll make a video on that later, like in another series, because we are not using that advanced AI. The enemy just has to chase us around and do nothing else. So we are going to basically just make the enemy chase us around. So I'm going to open up the enemy blueprint here, and you can see this is basically empty right now. I'm going to delete everything that we have got, like the empty nodes, and in here this is our enemy. So in here, moving our enemy is kind of really simple. You can just go ahead and add in a tick event here, and use a simple function called AIMoveTo. And what this does is basically, well, it is kind of moves our enemy. So in here you can see it takes bunch of parameters. The first one is the pawn that we actually want to move, and obviously this pawn is self, because we want to, you can just hit self and it should get a reference to, you know, like the actual enemy object. So we want to of course move the enemy, so we are going to put self in here, which basically means like this object. And you can either provide it with a destination or a target actor. If you choose target actor, then you can just say like get player pawn here. Now this is a global function that basically returns whatever the current player is, which should be nice. And here we have got an acceptance radius. Now this determines how far away the enemy stops from us. So I'm going to say something like 10, and if I do that, you can see that the enemy is actually not moving. The reason for this is that the enemy just can't like automatically move wherever it wants to. We need to define an area where the enemy can actually move. So for this we use something called a NavMesh volume. So just go and search for nav, and you should see like here in like this place actors window, which allows you to play stuff. Go ahead and search for nav, and you should see a NavMesh bounce volume. Add that, and I'm going to just set it to the location of 0, 0, and you can see this is a very small volume. Now if you like press the P key on your keyboard, you should be able to see this green area. Now this green area is basically something that it basically determines the area where the enemy can actually walk, and we can obviously go under scale mode and we can make this area larger. Yeah, we actually can, but it's taking a bit of time to do that. Yeah, let's just save that, and it doesn't seem to be actually using it. Okay, we have got the sky sphere selected. Okay, my bad. Okay, just select the this NavMesh volume, and you can see now I can increase it, and it now is green. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase it until it's like practically all the way, and then I'm going to increase this as well until it is extremely large as well. Like not extremely large, I'm going to leave like a little bit of space here that we can escape to. And now if I hit play, what you should see is that the enemy does start to chase us, and he's chasing us kind of like really fast. And if I go out of the area reachable by the enemy, he will automatically stop chasing me. Now he's chasing me, and if I go out, I guess, then he stops. And yeah, that's awesome, and the enemy is kind of really fast, you can see. And it's currently, you can see, it's kind of like going right up to me, which is not what I want. So in here you can see this is acceptance radius. Just increase it to, like, if you increase it to like really large, like 100, then the enemy will stop like this. So yeah, that 100 is around right for the acceptance radius. And you can see now the enemy is working fine, and we have basically got an enemy that chases us around. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. Now the next thing I want to add, and if you press the P key again, you will just get rid of this green thing, and the next thing I want to add is that currently our enemy is just chasing us like normally. We start chasing us as soon as the game starts, and it keeps chasing us basically. So what I want to do actually is I want to make it so that the enemy actually only chases us when it sees us. So if I like make the enemy if you press like go rotation and then rotate the enemy until it's facing the other way, and I hit play, then you can see it still is like kind of following me around even though the enemy is not able to see me. So we want to add kind of a seeing lock kind of thing. So basically it only happens when the enemy sees us. Now that is extremely simple. You need to go if you open up your enemy and you go under add component and you like choose let me go AI perception. So in here you want to add an other component, so just go under enemy, select add component and choose AI perception. Now what this is basically, it basically determines the senses. Now that we have got a bunch of senses in here, what we need to do is we need to go under this AI perception, and in the senses configuration we need to add a new element by clicking this plus button. Now we have got this here. For the actual sense, just do AI site config. Now open this up, go under sense, and you can see we have got a bunch of settings in here. You can leave all of the settings as default. This will basically make the enemy see at a 180-degree radius, which like 190-degree half radius, which means it can see along this line. If we are behind it, it will not be able to see us. And that looks pretty nice, and this is basically fine. But one thing you need to change is you need to go under detection by affiliation, and in here make sure all check boxes are checked, because we are not using any distinction of like programming distinction of neutrals and friendlies and enemies. It won't be able to detect the player unless we like select all of these. So just select everything in here in the detection by affiliation, and the rest of it should actually be fine for us. So once we have done that, what we need to do now is we need to go under our event graph. Now we are going to learn one more thing about blueprints, which is variables. Now if you have actually ever programmed, you should know what a variable is. In case you haven't, a variable is basically like a place in the computer memory where you can store some data. So in order to store data, you basically use variables, and in order to add variables in blueprints, you go under this my blueprint tab. Under variables, you just click this plus button, and it creates a new variable. Now you select a name here. I'm going to select the name called scene player, just scene player. And basically what this is, if I compile the blueprint, you can see that this variable has got a type of boolean, which is the default type, and this is what we want selected. Just if it isn't for you, just select boolean in here. And what boolean is basically a value that can either be true or false, and that's what we want, because we want the enemy has either seen the player or not seen the player. So if we have got like this, the variable type is going to be a boolean. Now if I go under here and we only want to move if we have seen the player, so what you can do is you can go under this tick and you can add a special type of node here called branch, which is basically like an if statement. If you type if, it should automatically pop up as well, and basically an if means that it will execute one thing if a particular condition is true, or else if it is not true, it will execute another thing, or in this case nothing at all. So in order to fix the you can basically like drag this variable in here and use get to get a reference to it, and you can put this to the branch. And what this basically means, it will only move if this scene player is true, and by default this is false, it won't move now. So if I hit play, you can see the enemy is not moving us no matter what we do. So in order to make it move when we like actually do something, you need to select your AI perception, go under events, and use this on target what do you need to use? You need to use this on target perception updated button. And once you do that, you can see that we have got this here. And what you need to do is we have got this event here, and it is basically got like an actor and a stimulus. We don't need to worry about the stimulus thing. So we are going to basically go ahead and add in another if statement or branch in here. Actually we don't need to do that. We can just go under the actor and we can select you can choose you can choose equal here. So basically you type equal, it should bring this node which basically checks if two variables are equal, and for the other one you can just use the get player pawn. So what this is basically saying, if the actor that that we got, that the actor that was updated was a player, so if that actor was a player, whether it was a player or not, that's we want to set our scene player to that. So just drag scene player, and this time instead of choosing get, choose set, and this should get this. And now we can change the value of the scene player variable by dragging this, and that should basically set the scene player variable correctly. Now currently we have not seen the player, and as soon as we go near, we should see the player and the enemy should start chasing us. So you can see I just go in front of the enemy, the enemy starts chasing me, and yeah, that's pretty awesome. So now the enemy is basically like chasing me in the correct manner, and now we have got like a seeing system as well. So yeah, this was pretty much it for this video. In the next video we will be adding more stuff, so stay tuned for that, and make sure to like and subscribe as well, and share this video with other people who want to learn Unreal Engine, and bye.